FYI. It does, doesn't it? I'll change the line. It is. I don't think mine will.
Call the meeting to order. Karen, would you do a roll call, please?
Vanessa Arthur Westervelt,
Here.
Lucas Stansberry,
Present.
Bill Houston,
Here.
Jeff Leslie. We have a quorum, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Bill, would you do the invocation, please?
Heavenly Father, as we come to you, we come thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity to conduct city business. We pray that you watch over these proceedings, you bless everything. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could I have a motion for acceptance of the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to accept the agenda, for the acceptance of the agenda.
I second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, motion that we accept the consent agenda as it stands.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, at this time we'll go to public forum. First, we have Matt Abella.
My stance is the same as it was the last public forum you had. That we should be able to choose our own trash service. not have dictated to us by the city. Also, you talked repeatedly about using the lowest bidder. Is the lowest bidder gonna mean that's gonna be the horriblest trash service? Is there gonna be guarantees in there? Sometimes the lowest bidder isn't the best.
Steve, does this part need to be played up during the public hearing?
I'm sorry?
If they're talking about trash service, do you want to do it during the public hearing?
Probably
Public hearing.
Because that's what I presume we're talking about.
Yeah, we
trash.
have a public forum, it's a little bit confusing. First goes the public forum, and then we'll have a public hearing for the sanitation. So
So-
whoever wants to talk about sanitation, if you're on the list, is there anybody that doesn't want to talk about sanitation that's on the list? Not sanitation?
Go ahead.
And also sanitation.
Okay, and say the sanitation part for the public hearing. But
Okay.
just for Karen's minutes, it'll be there. Is that all fine with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm Cindy Wynn. I want to kind of address you about the last meeting on March 13th about the bump out maintenance. And it seems pretty much a decision to go with the one to combine with the cemetery mowing and the bump out maintenance to put them all on your one contract, and did not offer, the job up for bid, open bids, even though you were assured it was a good deal from the company you went with. It still seems like it's a pretty open and shut case. And I just question if that is even legal to do. Because I think there would have been others that would have been interested in doing something like that. And I noticed over the weekend, there was a volunteer group cleaning out from the bump outs from one of the churches. So are you going to donate money to that group? So
We did request bids from other entities and they declined to offer a quote.
but that's not like publishing a bid.
Yeah, we just called them all and asked them.
Yeah, that's pretty opinionated, There's other people out there. Okay, and the $13,800 allotted for bump out maintenance, is that for a year?
It's for a season, yes.
Is it, so it's seasonal, so it's not 52 times a year? The week?
I don't know how many times.
The way it's worded is weekly, but it didn't say seasonally, weekly in the paper.
That's
Okay,
also for all the new plants and mulch and everything that was good mulch.
Yes, that was it. And that was, for them to do it basically during the cutting season and stuff like that.
right,
The mowing season, when the growing season is and stuff.
okay.
And I believe there's gonna be some change in,
You know what I'd like, to me, in my opinion, it'd be cheaper just to fill them in with concrete and use welcoming decorative pieces to put there. It'd be cheaper to maintain. It'd still look nice. And drivers wouldn't have the big problem of seeing around the bushes and the planters. So that might be an idea to kind of look at, so. But anyway, that was my concern for the last meeting. So, that's it for the public forum.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, if that's it for the public forum, we'll go on to our public hearing.
Matt, did you?
Is this the trash?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
We just like you so much, we want to hear you twice.
As I was saying, I'm against the trash service. I think we should have our own choice. There's more people tonight than there was the last time you had a public forum. So you postponed it last time. Maybe this time you'll actually decline it. Because obviously there's more people here, there's more people who are against the trash service than for it. And to be quite honest, if the people are throwing trash in the back of their sheds, they probably won't even bother to put it out in the dumpster anyway. You know, it's still the will of the people, the individuals. And is there a code against throwing trash in the back of your shed?
Well, if you can see it. But if it's hidden, you can't do anything about it. You know, if you can't, we can't, our codes person can't go into the building.
I understand that.
And if they can't see it from the outside, there's no enforcement until they're aware of it.
Gotcha.
But
And I know
if
there's
nobody
people.
can see it, how do you even know?
No, we're gonna do it one at a time. He's talking.
Well, and I can smell people who are burning trash at night. Is there a code against that?
No, they're not supposed to be burning it.
So. That's just all I have to say is I think that you should vote to reject this and let us have our own choice. Just stricter enforcement of the codes. If they're throwing trash in their deal, they should be cited for it. If they're burning trash at night, they should be cited for it.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, who's gonna go next?
I'm Lisa Franklin, and I'm here to talk about the trash. I listened to the meeting a month ago, and it seemed to me in the beginning that because there was a mention made that landlords were finding buildings that were full of trash, and so they needed a means because it was costing them a lot to clean that up. My thought is that's the cost of their doing business. And so I don't think that should be put off onto anybody in here at all, because they are doing business, they need to clean up after. If the retail businesses in town had a lot of thefts and had to get a better security system in, then are we going to see a loss prevention line charge on our city bill to offset their cost? And the same with the restaurants in town. They have food waste because they overcook some days. Are we going to see a food spoilage line charge on the city utility bills? This is all a cost of doing business for that. Also, we see that people don't mow their lawns as often as the city requires. Is there going to be a citywide lawn service eventually? It just seems like we're opening a big old can of worms here. And so I just think that we need to slow down and take a better look at this. And also, I agree with Matt. If people don't want to throw their trash in a trash containment unit, they're not going to. You're not going to change that by mandating that they have those out there. I've driven around town. Close enough to those polycarts is close enough for them. And then it blows into the neighbor's yards. Neighbors feel they don't have to pick it up if they don't care about it. So if, and back to the landlords, they can assess it on their rent or use a deposit. That's usually what those are for. And also, there was talk about it. So when this is dump day, they have to wait another month. Dump, I called. You can dump one time per month, Monday through Friday. So if you miss a day, you can go the next day. Or you can take somebody else's vehicle, because I'm sure that's done. You say you can keep the rates down, but actually, I feel what you're doing is, well, you're going to add administrative fees. You're talking about a surcharge for providing the billing services, a small surcharge which can be used for community services, and then a possible franchise fee you've left open for down the road. So I just think that you're also creating a monopoly, because we're a small community. These trash companies, they might bid the first year, and if you get a 1 year or 3 year contract, it does not matter. But they're gonna, those that didn't get the bid, they're gonna be done with this. They're not gonna waste their time with this anymore. And then at that time, their monopoly's been created. And so there's not gonna be that competitive process in the future. And I think it's gonna come sooner than we realize. So our leverage will be gone, and possibly forever. And we were told that you guys were told, the last meeting, the rates will be set for 1 to 3 years. This is a transportation service. And so they are going to add a fuel surcharge, which is a variable rate. So that is not going to be, not a 3-year contract for that at all, because surcharges for fuel are variable. And so the rate is not going to be established for 3 years. I just don't see it. I think also you're placing an unnecessary burden on those with limited incomes. Because if they can't pay for their trash, the trash companies will be a little more lenient. The city has, I think, a 10% late fee. And then plus, they have, if they want to make payments, I think there's some other rules involved. And the trash service that they're going to charge is going to be 1.5%. And if someone can't pay their trash bill, I would hate to think that they're going to lose their water and electricity, which are vital and necessities for them. So I think it's just something that we're putting an additional burden on people that can't afford it. And then one of the last things I want to say is, I also heard that you guys, tough job up there, I'm not going to deny, but you guys feel that sometimes it's a we versus them. And I understand that. But in this instance, when I was listening to that meeting, I got the feeling that someone got in somebody's ear. And now we're all expected to pay the price for that. And I just think it's a group thing that's going on. And I think we need to step back, relax, branch out, and everybody get their own ideals in place, because I just feel that everybody's thinking along the same lines, and I don't think that that's going to be conducive to getting anything done. Also, to go back, I just feel it's a vibe, but it just feels like somebody's wanting everybody to pay for their cost of doing business, and I don't think that that's our job. So I would just like to ask that you set this issue aside and not consider moving on with it, because I think for the people of Girard, I think that's the best move for all of us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, who wants to go next?
My name is David Phillips, and much of what I was going to say has already been said. I would like to add to it that we, the people, we perceive this to be a very slippery slope. As it's already been addressed by Lisa, what's next? After the trash service is being mandated, again, what's next? The city swimming pool is a city amenity. Our homeowner is going to be told we can no longer have our own swimming pools and we have to use the public pool. With the hiring of a part-time lawn service person, our homeowner is going to be told that we no longer mow our own lawns or use the services of another lawn service. Instead, we must use the city employee. Our businesses are going to be rated at the same rate as homeowners. Some of us, we have very small polycarts. Businesses can have full 3-yard plus dumpsters. Are we going to be charged the same? And if so, how is that fair? For citizens who don't need trash services, why are their utilities going to be held hostage? Anecdotally, my grandparents didn't need trash service because we took care of it for them. But under this resolution, they would be denied like essential utilities, water and electricity. We already have one major monopoly in town, whose company I'm not going to address publicly due to my occupation. But that company does not allow competitors to operate within city limits while they have free reign to operate outside of their territory and other people's territories. It seems like this is just another bump in that slippery slope going down into turning Girard into an HOA. And at that point, how many of us are going to be selling their homes and leaving? With the housing market right now being incredibly favorable to sellers, I think a loss of population is something to be seriously considered, and this entire resolution should be dismissed entirely and not even thought of again.
Thank you. Who wants to go next? She's already been up there.
No.
Oh, that's right, she's on public forum.
I'm Cindy Nguyen. Okay. Kyle, Thomas, and I distributed some polls around town. And if you would accept them to look at them. We set them out on Wednesday and Thursday in local businesses. Some were placed, not, they were in public view, but yet not where people really notice them, like on bulletin boards back in the back and around. So some of them were even left blank, and some of them only had one or two signatures on them. So I put those together. There were 92 people that participated, and 88 checked no. One was undecided, and 3 checked yes.
Can you read the question you put on there?
Well, I just made it out, so are you for yes or against no mandated trash service? And then I explained that it was a poll, not a petition. And so then they filled it out in the section. Well, that's the place for comments, and then yes or no.
Do you have a copy of it?
I can make a copy.
No, but we scan them in, those are for you guys.
Okay.
We have all of them, or here.
Okay, considering there wasn't that much time that we had just to fill a few days, sitting out there, I think 92, still is a valid opinion of what people really want. A lot of people I even talked to that weren't able to come to the meeting because they had other obligations today. Okay. And there were people that refused to even participate in the poll, saying that they were undecided. But possibly because they did not take into consideration, there is advantage to it that everybody would have trash service, but they were not considering each resident's financial situation or need for trash service, or the effect a mandated trash service would have on other trash companies. And the fact too, we'd be stripping us of our individual rights to choice. And it states that you will set aside money for community services. Well, this indicates the city intends to profit from the fees collected from every resident, but not each individual resident will benefit from your selected community service. And I've had a few people from outside of the city who are on city utilities ask, well, does that include us? Will we be charged for trash service and get trash service? I can't answer that. Okay. And then the sheets you passed out, you state that you will possibly contract with one or more collectors. So how's that going to decrease if you have more than one? How is that going to decrease the wear and tear on alleys? And then you state that if ordinance is not adopted within a year of passage, that's the ordinance. It's without the passage of resolution of intent, process will be started over. And you can bet we'll all have to go through this again. I think it's a waste of your time and our time, which is also a waste of money. Okay. I was told by a former city employee that had worked for the city for 30 years that it was once attempted to pass a city mandated trash service. And it was not even as public as it is this time. It went nowhere. And that's where I hope it will always go. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question? Where did you set these at, what buildings?
They were at some of the gas stations, but they had to be back at the bulletin board by the bathrooms. And then, there was one at Napa, Calls, Brumbacks, Lumberyard, the post office, but it also had to be back off the side. And then the one with the most signatures, I personally spent an entire day walking around looking for people outside because I didn't want to knock on their door. So I got 45 in like 6 hours.
So it looks like someone went down the
And,
road.
and given
I'm just
me-
wondering why you missed my house on that one, Kyle, for that survey there.
But give me more time, and I will get, I would say, a good at least 75% signature from town.
I do have like a couple clarifications just from listening to everyone. The resolution of intent would not pass a citywide sanitation service. It would start a statutory by the state has laws about this. It would start an 18-month process where the city would review and speak with the community and providers. And then there would have to be a plan that would be disseminated to everybody. And then it would go to council and then it would get voted on. Like this is just saying, hey, we're going to look and see if this would be better for the community or if it'd be worse for the community. And I did call 2 other communities that do it the way that we were talking about doing it. And their trash service is $12 a month. And that's Erie and Cherryville. And also, I don't think anybody on the council, I hope, would have any intention of if somebody missed their $12, $15 sanitation bill a month that their electric would get shut off.
That's right.
I don't even know who would be allowed to do that
Nothing
legally. And I certainly don't think anybody at city office or any of the city council members would want to do that to somebody. But if we did like what Cindy was talking about, where you divide the community up into quadrants or the city and did like multiple providers, like into 4 sections or whatever, that would still be 1 truck per week per street instead of 3 trucks per week per street, if that makes sense.
So we still, it sounds like you guys pretty much already.
Yeah, if you were in a
reminded me
certain
of that.
quadrant and there was a certain trash service that did
That's
it
the only
for,
one you could choose.
yes, it would still be that way. It'd probably be cheaper. We don't know. I'm sure if we did this, if it did go all the way through that planning process, and council was still like, yeah, we would still like to consider doing this, and they would release a request for proposals. And usually a request for proposals is different from a bid, because a bid, the only thing you consider usually is the price. A request for proposal, like you said, you would be allowed to consider other things as well, like you said, quality of service. And then any of those, you would be able, the council could say, dang, we don't want to do it this way because their lowest one was $40 a month, or wow, the lowest one was great service and it's $12 a month, let's try this type of thing. But like I said, this part here wouldn't mandate a trash service. It would just say, hey, we're going to take the time to communicate with you guys and any trash providers that are interested and see what we think it would look like, basically. And then after we went through that whole process, there would be a plan, a detailed plan that would go again to all of you guys and to the council. And then they would look at it, and at that point, they would say yes or no, we want to do it. And if they said yes, then there's an 18-month waiting period, and then it would start city mandated service. Does that make sense?
So, but if we're against it,
No, that's.
so
why
basically,
waste
if
the
you
time?
if you feel it here, we don't have to go through all that.
Yes.
No one wants it.
Yes,
So does
correct.
that $12 include the 3 additional fees you're
I
having?
don't think there would be a franchise fee, and I'm
Well,
not
but
even
you're
sure
leaving
that
it
there
open
would be
for
a
that.
surcharge. The franchise fee, I wrote this, and I wrote it based on how the city of Lawrence did theirs, and they didn't charge a franchise fee. We don't charge a franchise fee now for trash service. We only charge it for natural gas and cable, I believe. And actually, the KCC at the state sets those,
Requires
some
you
of
to do
them,
it,
they
that's right.
require it. trash, we have the option to do it. So the state in our resolution requires us to say whether we would consider having that fee or not. And I think the franchise fee, I put no. And then on the surcharge, I wasn't sure because we have a software provider that does that for us. So I don't know if they would charge us, you can, to add another bill for utility billing.
If we had to add another module, it would be a fee.
Yeah, so if we were gonna be the ones billing it, our software company would bill us for having another bill on it. And I don't know, I have no clue how much that would be, because like I said, we're not in the planning stage yet, we're just in the, do you guys wanna think about
Information
maybe
gathering.
doing this yet? But if this does pass tonight, we got into that stage, that's something we would have to find out from our, Simple Cities, our software provider.
What would be the point in even doing quadrants with multiple providers? Why not just leave it as simple as we can individually choose our own provider?
And that's something, if this passes, that
It
if
seems
you
like
wanna come
making
to a
an,
meeting and talk about, we could, because we would probably consider every single possibility.
it seems like making a mountain out of a molehill. You know, it's a very simple fact, you know. We
Benefits that
we can have our own providers, but you want to divide it up into multiple. You know,
We
what if we,
know for sure yet what we want to do. The main things we were looking at was because we spend a lot of money putting rock in the alleys and we're still always way behind. And our streets, as you guys know.
Fixing the streets though.
Yeah, and that's.
You know how much gravel you can buy with how much money you're gonna spend on this bill?
Well, the two things that we were mainly looking at were wear and tear to the streets, and we do have a transportation fund to, pay for like maintenance on the streets and things. And that other cities that do this have significantly cheaper sanitation bills than we do. So the people that are paying for their sanitation bills right now would see a big decrease, hopefully. I mean, we don't know yet because we haven't bid it out. But people that aren't paying at all because they have other ways to dispose of their trash, that's something we don't know what we would do with right now. Like if we would mandate them to have it, or could we have an exemption for people that say that, like Kyle, who has somewhere else to go take his trash, could he sign a thing saying,
You will take care
I
of it.
elect out of the city mandated trash service because I can take care of my trash, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't know, those are all things that we could look at. But the two things that we were primarily looking at, and you guys have brought up a lot of good concerns that would have to be addressed during the planning stage, like you said, seniors that have limited or set income and they can't add an extra bill, but maybe they take their little one trash bag of trash to their kid's house every week, like if we could exempt them out of it, I just don't.
well, it's not just that either, man. It's a simple fact that if, I'm just gonna use myself anecdotally because it's simpler that way. I did have GFL whenever it swapped from McClellan to GFL, and they gave me the worst service possible. I switched to somebody else and have much better service. But if you went with that one plan, let's say the quadrants, simply geographically speaking, I live in an area, I may end up getting GFL, which is crappy service to me, versus someone I already have now.
And I think that would have to be why we would need to do an RFP instead of a straight bid, because like Matt said about the quality of service, but
Yeah.
I also anecdotally switched from GFL to Hartman, just because to me personally, nothing to do with the city. I like to support the local business, but
But by saying that, what if they're not gonna be the bid when, so then you're going back to
Yeah,
GFL?
because GFL owns the landfill, won't that put them at an unfair advantage? in
I
bidding
think it
process?
will, yes, and I think that's why we need to do an RFP instead of a straight bid, because like, for example, for the city's banking services, which this was a couple years ago, we did an RFP and we actually didn't take the best rate in the bank that we chose in their RFP, because one of our questions was, what have you done for the local community? And they have donated over the past year over $220,000 to local programming in Girard. So we chose them. So that's what I'm saying with the request for proposals. It doesn't necessarily have to be the lowest price. It can be whatever you want to put in your RFP.
You did say that you had checked on 2 other cities that actually had the trash.
Yeah,
service, right?
Cherryville and
Did you actually check on the ones that have had it, that have also turned it out, like Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh had,
No, I don't think they ever passed it.
They
Did
never
they?
passed
they
it.
never got
Yeah.
that far. I thought that they
Well,
had.
they-
Tried
and they failed.
Yeah, I worked in Pittsburgh at the time, so I remember that. It never passed. So like I said, even if this piece passes, which I obviously don't vote, But if it does or doesn't, which I have to do whatever I'm told to do, but if this does pass, these are all questions that you guys, I would hope, would come to me with so that we could answer for the council so they can make a better informed decision, I guess.
So when you spoke to the other cities, did you ask how much money they were making off of the having
No,
their own trash service?
Didn't have their own trash service, they bid it out and they just had it on their utility bill.
So did,
I only called the two that I thought would be closest to the model that if Girard did it, would be closest to the
I
model that
heard
Girard
that
would do.
Columbus.
Does this include
Columbus has
commercial?
their own, yeah, they have like their own trash trucks and
Oh,
employees.
okay, the city owns it.
Yeah, the city owns it.
Okay.
And I actually got all of that data too, I think it was like last September when I showed it to council. And in general, cities don't do as well with it as a private company. So I thought the better way was, and we have some locally that were doing it and the city doesn't wanna, you know.
Yeah.
So
So, you
Yeah.
know, you would get some idea of what they charge for a surcharge and if they make any money off of it.
The only thing, I didn't call them and ask them how much they made from, but like I looked at their budget and I can look and see how much they're transferring in that fund and out of that fund. And to me, it looked like any money that they were quote unquote making, because cities don't really make a profit, it's required by law to go back into city services. But most of the money that they were making was just going back into keeping their equipment up.
That's still a profit.
That's
You're
still,
still
It was
making money.
they were having to use it to maintain their
But
equipment.
that's, in other words,
And
that's
then-
filling in a shortfall if the city is lost
Yeah.
another thing. So that's basically it.
Kind of.
Which refers back to her when she said we had to pay for the computer program.
Yeah.
So that's the
And
intent
that
of
could be in
covering
my
all
new
that.
charge, I don't know, since it would probably just be a set fee every month, it wouldn't have to calculate like any usage or anything. So to me, I would think it would be small, but I wouldn't know until the city clerk would.
So to clarify, for tonight, we're not passing an ordinance for trash service. We are passing what? If they pass it.
A resolution of intent to consider trash service, I did not figure out how to sign it.
and that's what,
And will there be other opportunities for people to come speak?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
During the
part of the
process.
state statute says that if the city council passes a resolution of intent, there's a 90-day period where we have to invite and have public meetings like this one, where everybody who wants to can come. But we also have to invite every local or interested sanitation provider. And we would have meetings like this, probably in this room, where people would come and say, if we're gonna do a request for proposal, or we're gonna do a contract, what needs to be in it? Does there need to be an exemption for seniors on limited incomes? Does there need to be an exemption for people like Kyle who have other ways of disposing of their trash not in the city limits, and they have their yards all nice and picked up like Kyle does? Like, you live in that house you remodeled down here in Woodland, it's sure enough. And we would say, we obviously have to state in the contract, we can't turn off some of these utilities
No,
because
we're
they're
not
late
gonna
on the sanitation.
Yeah, we're not gonna
And then we would probably want to say some things about usage of the streets and alleys. And
That sound like a 90
But we're all down here now to try to ease this process and just shut it down now
yeah.
instead of, I miss $300 every night I come to this meeting because I work nights. So I'm out between the gas of driving around this weekend and the 2 meetings I've been here, I'm out $600 or $700 for this. So if we keep pushing this out and you say, we'll have another meeting probably in this room, I don't think so. If you give me another 2 months, there's gonna be 300 or 400 people up here and you're gonna have to listen to all of them. We're gonna be up here all night. Because half the people that I spoke to, I said, hey, do you know about the city's mandating trash? And they say, no, what is that? Nobody knows about it. This is just a weekend worth of people getting notified about it. There is gonna be a lot of people and a lot of signatures at these
I think
meetings.
most of us feel like we have enough government involved in our lives already. It's a shame that you guys gotta go and take more of our rights away or our choices away.
Right.
If these people are having trash in their yard, there's ordinances for that already. So why do the people who follow the law or the rules get punished by having to be stuck with these little things?
And like he said with the slope thing, like, okay, you sign this and no big deal, it's trash. What's next? Kansas Gas Service gonna start getting facilitated? Trust me, that's high enough already, you know? And what else is gonna go? It's like, when you take a little bit of rights away here and there, people don't really notice. That's why it's hard to get as many people in here. But over the long run, all these little rights getting taken away, you ain't got nothing left. And like somebody mentioned, a monopoly. If you got phone. you got
Okay, Kyle, what we're
internet.
talking about now, I don't think the council was gonna talk to you people, he's just gonna listen to you, but we're getting off track. We're not talking about the gas company or anybody else. What we're doing, we're just trying to get some information on how people feel about it, so we can work with it. But, you know, when we start getting off track on another utility or something else,
I have plenty to say about trash only, and so does everyone else here.
well, that's what we need to talk about. That's
Now,
what
is
we're here
this
to talk
any
about.
commercial
You
dumpsters
guys
also
wanna-
involved in this, or just,
Do what?
is this commercial sanitation also included in this, or is it just residential? Like dumpsters?
Oh, business.
Yeah, I mean, that would probably come out in the planning process as well. But if you guys wanna do this like a Q&A, I don't, Nikki, do you want them to start taking turns again?
No, let's start taking turns.
I think we just need to listen to them, and then if the
Whoever
resolution
hasn't
gets
spoken
passed, then
still
we
wants
do
to
it
go
at
to
a
the
public
podium.
meeting, we listen to people.
No disrespect,
Then we'll
Mr.
answer.
Kyle, but us using the other utilities and everything is just for context. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a company here in town who will not allow other companies to provide us internet service,
Well, that's not what we're talking about.
but it's context. It's something that the city allows.
Is there anybody else that wanted to
Yep.
speak at the podium? Okay.
My name is John Hartman, owner of H&H Sanitation. Came to the last meeting, sorry, I had a pen with me now. Came to the last meeting on regards to the sanitation. Come here tonight, to basically step my grounds and say that I've read some laws, I've done some studying, I contacted a lawyer. You guys are creating a monopoly. Mulberry went through the same thing. I've read the state laws, and it basically states that you guys can basically take public rights away. They do in some towns, but this is where I stand. Hold this, please. I believe all the people should get what they want, when they want, how they want. We got laws. We follow them, but a trash law, I mean, you take away from my family. I run off of this. I gave up everything else to do this. Because we don't have any other local people. They all sold out shorts. I have a short employee. You got me worked down. McClellan's, they're gone. You got GFL, you got Shorts, which is out of Arkansas. Shorts has been known to put this in people's ears. I went through this with Minden Mines Reserve. So, I mean, this is a shop local town, right? Shop local? Yeah. That's what it says at the end of the drawer. So you're running me out of here because I can't. There ain't no way I can compete with somebody that gets them for $25 a ton. Shorts can. We can't do that. GSL gets in for free. They own it. Then you got me. I'm down here. I run off the drawer. I got 171 people out here in the city limits of Girard that I provide trash service for. About 40% I walk up to the house every week to get. Me or one of my employees. They don't bring it to the rest. I don't complain. That pays for my kids, takes care of everything I need. Yeah, I use 4 alleys in Girard, Kansas. One behind the school, one right off Summit, one over here by Cherokee. And I use the Cherokee 1, 2, Summit 2 blocks. Summit over here 2 blocks. That's my 4 alleys. Then a 2-block period. Do I see me tearing up that alley? No, I'll probably put a little wear and tear on it, yeah. When I come over here every week, I got an empty truck. I leave with 3.5 tons of trash. And probably 40% of that would have not got put out. But my guys and me, we take our time, we walk up, we get all that trash. We do it every week. We don't complain about it. We got started when McClellan sold out to keep the local businesses running. I gave up a whole construction company. And you guys can make money off the trash company. You guys should be charging us to be over here every month or for the year. I pay Pittsburgh $75 a truck to run it. What do I pay Gerard? I come over here, get a business license, zero. We should be getting, every one of those trash companies that come to Gerard should be getting charged. Instead of here worrying about making all these people sitting here pay because they want one trash company, why are you not making us pay to be here? I should be getting charged to be here. I'd be more than happy to pay my $75 a truck to run over here. I run every day of the week. I never complain. Christmas, Thanksgiving, if it falls on one of my days that I work, I run. And then I have to come over here and spend my time away from my kids to fight to keep this business up and running. And then we got the city. Charge us. Charge Shorts, charge GFL. They want to work in your town, make them pay you. And leave the city, all these civilians. I don't live here, I live outside of Drury. So I don't have to worry about it because I got trash trucks. I'm sure you guys don't want them in your town. I was living behind the old school over here, but we had to move because John Turshman passed away, but that's the point. But I know everywhere else, if it's maintenance, you got Shorts that run 4 or 5 trucks. You got GFL that runs 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 trucks, whatever they got. I mean, they go through a whole bunch. You got me, I run 1 to 2. You got Pittsburgh that charge 75, plus you got the inspection fee of your truck. You got all that. It's about $175 a truck to run in the city of Pittsburgh. You come over here and we run. I don't know who I talked to is at that desk. And they're like, oh no, you don't have to pay nothing. That ain't fair. I go to Pittsburgh. I come here, I should say. These people shouldn't have to worry about who's going to be picking up their trash. They should be able to call me any day, just like in Pittsburgh. I believe Minden Mines is up to go back to however they want to do it. And it is like I said, it is a monopoly. I've got the law pulled up on my phone if you need me to read it to you guys. And I believe these people should have the say in what they want to do, who they want to choose. And I mean, we're supposed to be in a free country. This is not a free country when you got the city telling you what to do and how to run you. And what you can, I mean, they all said, what's next? Yeah, that is what's next. I don't have the right to say that because I don't live here. I'm here for the trash service, and that's my business. I mean, I'm pretty sure I probably provide service to some people up there. I do a good job. I clean everything up. We don't leave a mess. We give them plenty of time to pay their bill. I'm doing the same thing y'all are doing. You guys can make money off of us if you want to. I'm not worried about them. That's all I gotta say. I gotta get out of here. I gotta take
Thank you. Who else wants to speak?
My name's Kyle Thomas. I came 2 meetings ago to speak about the trash service. I'm obviously against it. I kind of facilitated a lot of this with Cindy and a few other people here. As Lynessa had stated, well, you missed my house. That's right. I missed probably 95% of the houses in town. I got 100 signatures, and look how many people are here. I can tell you that if this keeps going past the initial state that you guys are going to vote on, whatever day it was in the paper, if it keeps moving forward, we're going to have another room. Because I guarantee you I can get probably at least 300 people to come in here, and I will go door to door if I have to, and I will have stacks of signatures. And somebody said something about a dictatorship. That is what it is. Because we, the people, we don't have the right. We can come in here and try to influence you, but at the end of the day, you guys don't care what we say. You vote, we don't. And because if you put this up for a public vote, no way it will pass, ever. So we're just voicing our opinions to let you know how many of us are against it. And I had hoped for more than this today, but like I said, if we keep going, I will pack this room. And you're going to have to sit here for 12 hours and listen to each and every citizen of this town, because we have the right to speak our minds. And as the city council, you guys need to listen to what we have to say, whether you agree with it or not, or no matter what you're going to do. but we have the right to voice our opinion because this is our town. This isn't the town of 6 people that make decisions. This is our town. So we're sticking up for our right and our choices and our freedoms in this town. And there's a lot more people against it than you think. And like I said, I've wasted a lot of money coming up here arguing this because I think it's wrong. And I will continue to spend lots of money to argue this if I have to. But you're wasting the city's money. You're wasting council meeting time. You're wasting other people's money, my money, your time, our time. If we could just stop it now, it would save everyone a lot of headache, a lot of money, and a lot of time. And if not, then we're going to keep fighting, and we're going to pack this room, and I'm going to do my best to get everybody in town in here. And then maybe when there's 1,500, 2,000 people in here, maybe the majority will speak. But I think it needs to be stopped. Vote against it. Do away with it. And if there's trash in town, say, oh, well, this yard's trash. I spoke with some of the council members. There isn't a trash ordinance, I was told. Okay, so if you drive down the street and there's trash in somebody's yard, shouldn't they get a fine? Oh, no, wait, I'm getting a fine now because my yard's clean. I don't think that's right. Enforce the ordinance. Take the $57,000 or whatever you're going to spend on this. Hire a code enforcement officer. Let him treat the problem, not everybody who's not the problem. There's many other ways that I think this needs to be handled rather than, oh, well, there's trash in the yards, everybody pays. I think that's wrong. So I'm against it. I think you guys should throw it out. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'm Mary Crocker. I think most of you know who I am. I've been on the city board for a good number of years. I've been a landlord for a good number of years. We had a business forever. I think everybody knows. I'm going a little bit broader than just Girard because I'm thinking about the people in Hepler and Walnut and Farlington and Brazelton that use the same service that we all use. And right now, I think there's 4 different companies that service Girard and the surrounding area. And these people in Hepler and Walnut and Brazelton and Farmington and wherever else the companies go, they come to Girard, they go to our schools, they go to our churches, they shop here, they come to our functions. If we get one company in Girard, what is that going to do to all these little towns when the trash companies have to divide up and they've got to drive miles to hit one person here and one person here and one person here? What's going to happen to all these people that shop with us, that come to our churches? I know there's people are going to say we don't need to worry about them. We just need to worry about Girard. That's all we're concerned about. But these people are part of Girard also. And I think that needs to be taken into consideration because you might leave all these people out here throwing their garbage and burning it and burning pastures and barns and what have you because they don't have a trash service and they don't have a way to get trash to a dumpster. Just something I wanted to bring up.
Thank you.
My name is Jonathan Bloomer. I actually didn't prepare anything because I wasn't actually coming here to speak. I came to support the town and because I said I would be here. But listening to everybody, I appreciate Mary as well, going a little broader because I don't live in Girard technically. I live in the country, partly due to the state park and noise ordinances. That's a different conversation. But as far as the trash topic, I, along with my family, do own multiple properties here in town. This is home, born, raised. But to the topic, I agree. Everything I would say, I would shadow what they have said. I'm not going to repeat it. We all know what the facts are. A lot of this I hadn't followed as much previously as I maybe should have because of life, because of being busy, because of everything else. I do appreciate that. It sounds like y'all have done your homework. And that's reassuring to know that it's, not the deciding vote now. It's a step in the other direction to gain more information. I am a big fan of data, and it sounds like you've been collecting some, which is great. However, I do lean towards the crowd here. Mainly, I want to make mention of a couple things that I've just kind of noticed in thought process. The council is here as a select number of people to speak the voice of the town. So we have 4 people on the council, plus everyone else here. We have a lot more than that just on one meeting here. So by percentage, it sounds like a lot of the town is sitting out here with opinions, and I don't see anybody else with opinions saying, yes, we need to pursue into this. I agree there are steps that maybe should be taken as far as trash, as far as cleaning up the town. I'm 35. It's hard to think so. I graduated in 06. It's not the same town it used to be as far as driving around in conditions and cosmetics, and I miss the town that we used to have. I don't think a potential mandated trash service is going to be the answer. I think it's going to probably harm more people than help people. So again, that reflects a lot of what has been said already. So I'm just, like I say, just kind of reinforcing the fact I didn't plan on saying anything. That's why this is very unprepared. But I agree with everything that has been said. I do live in the country, but I'm still very much Girard. I spend more time in town than not. But I say, when you look at percentages of the council being here to represent the town, it sounds like the town by far has come and spoken to kind of close it with the potential of what could have been rather than putting a lot into it just to possibly shut it down later. But anyway, I just wanted to say 2 cents since I was sitting here listening. So I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
My name is Joe Kimmick. I listened to this here and that, and when did I never know that trash was a commodity. When did that become? If you put it on, if you put the trash on that city, then what's going to happen to the little ones? I've been around for a long time. I'm no stranger. I'm probably the oldest person in this room. But I live by myself. And I don't have very much trash to take out. If I got charged that for a month, I only have about little small bags for a week. And that would feel like highway robbery to me for that to pass. And the people of Girard, Kansas, and here, I think if this was put on a ballot to vote, it would go. Would be. I think the members up there that do the voting, I think the Girard, the city, would vote about 85 to 90% different. But I've been sitting here listening to all these here things, and I grew up in a country where you didn't have no trash company. In my days, growing up where you had a barrel there, you burnt the trash and things like that out there in the country. And I have relatives, all kinds of relatives in here. But like I say, I live by myself, and I just I don't know how it to be considered as a commodity. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? If nobody else wants to speak, we'll move on shortly after. I just wanted to address some of the situations. Like I said last time, this is just in the preliminary stages. We're not doing anything. It's just the steps we have to take to consider it. We're going to take everything slow. We're going to listen to the people and stuff. We're going to probably do what's best for everybody involved.
You have to formally end it.
Yeah, you gotta close your public session, and then you have to address your resolution.
Okay, at this time, I end the public hearing for possible approval of resolution of intent regarding sanitation.
And council has to consider it.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve resolution of intent number 2023-04.
One more thing before you guys close. I don't know if it's supposed to happen like this.
Well,
When do
you
you guys
can't,
plan on?
sorry, public comments closed.
We're
I'm
voting
sorry.
right now,
They're
Kyle.
voting now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do I have a second? No second. Resolution fails for lack of second. Moving on. Item B, approval of golf course committee minutes, including proposed increase in cart routes.
I was not involved in that committee meeting, so I was thinking maybe Bill could update you guys on the golf committee, because Steve's at a conference.
I think the only change we brought up was on $5 Fridays, changing the car rental fee from the $5 it currently is to whatever, they raised it $2.50. And I'm not sure, I didn't get a copy of those minutes.
It's in regular. So it says $5 Fridays, race cart only prices to $7.50.
Yeah. That's what it
And
was.
to recommend raise a 9-hole golf course, 9-hole cart from 12 to 14.
So I think we have each other up here, we've moved on. It didn't pass, we've moved on to other things, and the council can't hear each other.
We didn't hear too. Some of us were just here for the trash.
Yeah, you know, they can hear, you can go outside if you're not there, or anything else.
No, what I was gonna ask when you guys were voting, I didn't know. When do you guys plan to vote to move on with the,
We just voted the resolution didn't go.
They'll be sending you a second bill.
okay, I thought that was to end the conversation.
No, that was too.
We have to pass a resolution to go any further. And it didn't pass.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for hearing us.
Thank you. Thank everybody for coming.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Anyway, I think that was the only rate change. The only thing that really changed was that car rental fee.
But it is under regular. It is under regular, your minutes are.
And we do, while we're on that subject, something that you might be thinking about, and I don't know what avenues we take. We got carts out there that are in pretty shabby shape. They need seats redone on them. They're 10 to 12 years old, if not older.
Yeah, that's what it says in here. It says,
They're not,
it says that,
not in very
the
good
money
shape.
is set aside for the carts to either purchase new carts or repair what's needed.
Well, that's, while we're on that subject, is what I was curious about. The question would be, the revenues and the monies that are generated off the golf course, they just go back into the golf fund or the,
Yeah.
Some of them are earmarked. So the cart paths are earmarked, so any trail fees are earmarked. Used to be, I don't know if we do that so much anymore, but we used to have our day golf, was earmarked to repair the golf course as it gets replenished, so, but it all goes back into their fund.
well, and I guess the reason I asked that question was, could something be earmarked for carts?
They have the equipment reserve fund, but it looks like in here that's what they're recommending is that, which how would we do that?
To use the equipment fund?
No, I mean, they want the earmark, the increase from like $5 to $7.50 on $5 Fridays to go to carts, like. That sounds like it'd be a software nightmare. Or they would have to be tracking it separately.
We'll have to put a line item in there. I mean, it can be done.
Our cart's different. They pay for them separately.
Yeah, but they're saying a portion of it to go to one line item and a portion to another. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
So they're saying like $5 Fridays would now be $7.50 Fridays, and $2.50 of it would be for set aside for cart repairs, and $5 would be.
That would be.
That would be a nightmare.
Yeah, you'd either need to take
But
it
your green
off.
fees on Friday stay the same. It's just the cart rental.
Okay, so you,
It only goes up on five.
so maybe just approving the increase in carts would be fine, and then me and Karen will have to figure that something out on the other side. I mean, cause I know we already did we put 20,000 this year in equipment?
That I don't know.
I think we did. I would have to look at all that.
And I assume that when you say equipment, you're talking about greens mowers, fairway mowers,
Yeah, it could be anything.
the
It could also-
whole,
It
yeah.
could also be parts.
Mhm.
But last year, since we went way over on our revenues, but we also went over on our budget authority because we bought more food to sell and stuff. We didn't put as much into the reserve fund, so hopefully this year, yes. And then that could be used for carts.
Why is it only on the $5 Fridays that we're raising the cart?
Well, because we have it set so cheap anyway.
But why aren't we doing it all the time?
Yeah, they do have it filled.
I think your car rental fees for general golfing pretty much match what's going on at Pittsburgh, Countryside. And therefore, if you get carried away with those fees too much, we're giving them a bargain on Friday because that's what it was intended, to pick up traffic at the golf course, but you could reverse that and go the other direction if you get your rental fees.
Yeah, you pay to golf and you want to keep that the same, just wanting the increase to the cart rental, which doesn't affect the people that own their own carts, since they take it. And then they're also asking for a discount for themselves on the committee for season passes.
No, that didn't pass.
I didn't pass the board.
Recommended discount amount?
He-
Motion made.
Yeah.
It didn't get seconded or didn't pass.
Motion carried. Oh, that's for the, okay, yep, I read the wrong one.
As long as you guys can figure out the math on that. I mean, you might just have to tally how many carts are rented on Fridays and then go back and put that money.
I think, can we, if you guys can you approve the propose rate increases if you want to, and then Karen and I can maybe have some discussion about how we would, yes, and then come back with you on that part.
Mr. Mayor, I motion that we approve the golf committee meeting minutes, including the proposed increase in cart rental rates.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item C, discussion approval / approval of Ryan Insurance quote for insurance.
It's a tough act to follow.
Yeah.
I think you all got the presentations on your screens. And I don't know, I'll leave it up to you all, how detailed you want to dig into this, or if you want me to kind of go fast and generalize it so you can get home, I'm happy to do it either way you'd like.
Wally, would you mind explaining the difference in the premium with the increase of deductible versus increasing that?
No, that's fine. I do want to, I'll get right there. Karen, thank you. We increased the building values. We didn't, EMC did, they insisted on it. $3,693,000, so almost $3,700,000, which is a 25% increase in values. That's to keep up with replacement cost calculators that I think are generated off the East Coast, and we're always about 20-25% underneath them. But with what happened with Ian and the property losses, the industry lost $265 billion last year. So every company that we have is insisting on getting the values to what they consider replacement costs. We fight them and fight them and fight them, and this year we're not winning any battles on it. But they are up 25% in values. Your premium is up by 15%. So you didn't pay for the full rate increase on the full value increase on your property. But your property is up just by itself by $7,000. That's with a 1,000 deductible and a 5,000 wind and hail deductible per occurrence, not per building, but per occurrence. We can take that to a 5,000 all perils and a 10,000 wind and hail deductible, again, per occurrence, not building, and save you that $7,000. But we've increased your deductible 9, 4 if it's not wind and hail, 9 if it is wind and hail. If you go 1 year without having a loss on wind and hail, you've about broken even. If we get to the next year, you're ahead of the game. I just throw it out as an option to try and hold down your costs, because I'm not the only thing that's going up in this day and age. So I do throw that out to you, because your premium total has gone up $20,000 from $139 to $159. So if we can cut that down, we're happy to do it. But that's obviously your decision. And we did add a new building, the new electric building. We did add that at $500,000, so that had some effect on the property rate. But the big thing is just the carriers trying to get up the value. So I'll leave that up to you all. You don't have to make that decision tonight. Karen can advise me at a later date. But the other thing I wanted to mention is we've got a coverage called violent event response. You maybe after tonight you better consider it. But you currently have $100,000 of that, 25,000 per person, and 100,000 annual aggregate. That's the most they'll pay in 1 year for it. I can increase that to still the same 25,000 per person, but the 500,000 per any one event and annually for $800. I really, really think you ought to do that.
Yeah, we need to do that.
It's, yeah, I down there.
I don't even like to write this anymore less than the $500,000, because if somebody got mad tonight and fired a couple of bullets, and I really think you ought to do that. So we can go higher. We can go to $1 million. We can go to $2 million, but I think you need at least $500,000.
Okay, I had one question on that. Do we have any coverage on the cybersecurity? What's our coverage on it?
We have a separate cyber policy for you.
Okay,
And it doesn't come up at the same time.
okay,
You do have $1 million of coverage on that.
okay.
But everything else is up, guys. Your receipts are up a little, so the general liability is up a little. You've added some equipment, so the inland marine's up a little. The business auto, up $850. The law enforcement's only up $600. The linebacker, which covers what you all are doing here tonight on the errors and omissions, that's only up $500. The big increases in the commercial output policy, which covers the electric operation, your electric operation, and the property. And that's where it all is, and that's all basically property coverage. So your option is, which I think I'd do it if I were you, but I'm not gonna tell you that, because as soon as I tell you that that's what I'd do, it's gonna hail and you're gonna be out $2,000.
Yeah.
And I don't wanna come back next year and do that, but I'd do it if I could. I would. You make 1 year and you're there.
Yeah, you guys gotta decide if you wanna add the $800 to increase the violent abuse coverage to $500,000 worth of coverage.
Definitely need to do that.
And then you have to, or you can put that in your motion to accept it if you want to accept it, or however. It's on page 7, or the very last page is where I found it.
What's the property deductible right now, Wally?
1,000, 5,000, 1,000, all other perils, 5,000 on it now.
All it takes is a couple of buildings and you're there. So, I mean, there was a city that got wiped out recently down in the southern part of the United States, and they are wiped out. So it's up to the council, but for every building, $10,000 is a lot of money. That would bust our budget.
It's a per occurrence deductible, Steve, not per building.
Okay.
So it's
That one storm.
it's call it per storm. The deductible's per storm.
Okay. Are you recommending we raise those levels to 5 and 10?
I would if I were you, but you're gonna save $7,000, which is gonna leave you're gonna be $2,000 short on the wind and hail event.
I think these are the two. The two
You're gonna be
top ones on
$4,000 short on
17 are the
something
ones who's recommending the changes.
Mr. Mayor, a motion that we approve the Ryan Insurance quote for our insurance to include the optional coverage with violent abuse coverage and optional property deductibles at $5,000 and $10,000.
And that includes the new electrical building, correct? Yeah.
Second.
You gotta have that covered.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
All right, thank you, and I will say one thing that'll brighten your day. I always wait till we're done with this, because it's not a guaranteed situation, but EMC pays dividends just about every year, so I think you'll be getting, they say their average is 14%. What I see is more closer to 10 or 11, but that's still coming back to you.
Our premium that we pay.
So as far as we know, it's gonna be paid again this year, so. All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wally.
Moving on to item D. Discuss possible support of district drug court.
That would be me. So, council, some of you may know this, some of you may not. I'll just educate you real quick. First of all, I'm masterfully stating the obvious, that Crawford County has a drug problem. And if you don't know that, you've been living in under a tub or something. What you see is a church. You've been living in a church. What you see is property crime and violent crime tied to significant drug use. And folks in law enforcement, in law and criminal law, in the court systems, that's what we've seen for years. Years ago, Judge Noland, when he was still on the bench, initiated a drug court, and several of us went for training for several weeks. And at the very last minute, the plug was pulled. And then Judge Fleming reported that they did it again 2012 through 2016, somewhere in that area, and again, it didn't go. Last Friday, I attended a meeting at the Parolo Center over in Pittsburgh, the new Parolo Center at the health department. And it appears that it may go this time. So the history is that Judge Dan Kreitz is the chief judge over in the 31st over here in Iowa, and they've had a drug court for 10 years. And I don't know the numbers, but he claims it's been very successful. Nikki asked me when we talked about it, what are the numbers? Percentage-wise, I'm not sure. You have failures. But their requirement is that you have to have sobriety for 12 months. And it's not 12 continuous months because, let's face it, if you're addicted, lifelong addictions, you're going to use. And so they require 12 months of sobriety, whether that's 6 months and they use and they have 6 more months and they can graduate. And they've helped, I think it was over 100 people, perhaps closer to 200 people. Don't hold me to the numbers. I'm not a numbers guy. But a significant number of people in that number of years. And he played for us a couple of graduations from drug court. It was remarkable. It was very remarkable to see that. And we're talking people that are addicted to methamphetamine, which, if you look at the stats, 9 out of 10 people never are off that for their life. They may have periods of sustained sobriety, but they always return to it. And so it's remarkable what they're doing over there. And so Judge Fleming is asking that we as a city support the drug court initiative. And at this point, I don't know what that's going to look like. I know they're going to get federal funding, and I suspect the county's going to provide some funding. I suspect the city will provide maybe a trickle in. Our courts, we're not going to send people to drug court from municipal court. This is going to be strictly in district court. And it's primarily right now Senate Bill, what they call Senate Bill 123, people. And that was a famous law that our legislature passed, which was an unfunded mandate in 2003 that said anybody who is a first-time offender, nonviolent, drugs, can go to this treatment facility. By the way, there's no money for it. So it doesn't work. So it looked good for the folks who passed it and it got them elected again. And then it's an unfunded mandate and nothing. It's been a disaster. Not a disaster. It's been an uphill battle. Let me put it that way. It's been tough. So the idea is somebody who's a Senate Bill 123 type offender in state district court, felony, drug offender, right before they go to the penitentiary, they have an option. You can go to drug court. You can go get locked up and serve your time, or you go to drug court. And so they choose drug court. Now, drug court's voluntary, and there's several, actually more people involved in drug court in terms of staff and personnel, because it's a very, very intensive supervision program. And so every waking moment of their life is under scrutiny. And they either pass it or don't, and they're given lots of opportunities and sanctions are imposed and so on and so forth. So we're in the beginning stages of that. And what I would like is if the council was simply, somebody would move that we support Girard supports the drug court initiative moving forward. And then I'm on the committee there. And so as I learn more information, I'll pass it along to you. That's all I have at this point is that we're trying to put together a steering committee to see if we can maybe make this happen a third time. That's where we are. So you guys got any questions about that? Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and I think, we went with the deal with NA Group that meets on Monday nights over here. And I think we had some people out that night out here in the audience that would have agreed we needed it. It's something we need, whether it's a solution, you can't say one way or the other. Depends on the person probably. But it's something that is well needed.
What do our local PD think about it?
I think they're full support.
I think it'd be beneficial.
We've talked
I
about
can't
it.
tell you how many people I've earned through the Monday meeting.
That would be our municipal court. On Wednesdays, we see these people, and these are the people that, well, Mondays, yeah, but Wednesdays, we see these folks come through court, and you'll see them in all the municipal courts, in district court. I mean, they're just making the rounds. You see them in Cherokee and all the municipal courts, in Frontenac and here, and Mulberry, and in their district court.
If this is an accessible program that can reduce the crime in the city and the domestic situations that's come with this, and in turn, lighten call load and from putting ourselves in more dangerous situations for the public and law enforcement. So I feel it's a good thing to support.
So when we're supporting it to be over at the Judicial Center?
Yeah, so we wouldn't run it. We don't want to run it.
No, I didn't think we did, but I'm just clarifying because I just like to have the piece of information.
So I don't know where it's going to be held, but it will be through the district court, and Judge Fleming will run it, if you will, or she'll be the overseer of it. So we won't run it. We won't have it here, and we aren't going to have drug court in Girard, Kansas, or any other municipality. We're just not going to do that. We don't have the staff or the wherewithal to have something like that. But knowing that our city would support something to reduce drug crimes, I think we would support that. And so right now, that's all it is that there's no, you're not obligating yourselves to anything. I can simply go back to Judge Fleming that said they passed a motion to say we support the idea of the drug court. That's essentially what you're doing.
You need a vote.
I just needed a motion and a vote, yes.
Mr. Mayor, I motion that we support the drug court as presented by our attorney, Steve Engelmeyer.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you,
Motion
guys.
carries.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll keep you updated.
Moving on to item E, discuss Public Works internship program with USD 248 partnership.
We've discussed this in the past with Councilman Leslie, and we modeled it very similarly to our electric department internship. Basically, the school would recommend students for, I want to say work release, but that's a jail thing.
Convicted of a crime.
What's it called?
It might be
Could be
work
the
release for
same
them,
thing.
It might be
but
the
they're not
same thing.
convicted of a crime.
They would be able to, during school hours, come work for the city for an internship to learn new skills like equipment operation, and they could mow and help with water leaks. They would learn various things and could work
So,
towards their CDL if they
OJ.
wanted. What?
On job training.
Yes. I should have said that instead of work.
Definitely not work release.
On the job training.
I think some of our kids would probably agree with that.
I'm still a student, my bad. Anyways, we would pay, the kids would get a wage. It's minimal, it's $10 an hour, but they would be getting benefit from us for their internship, and we would be getting benefit from their labor. The school has recommended 2 candidates, but the first step, item E, we would have to approve the agreement and the job description. And those are on your iPads. One's called Public Works Labor Intern and one's called Summer Intern. And that summer intern agreement, that's what we've used for, the electric department. The hours are a little bit different. The summer intern, the one in the electric department is temporary, so they can work 40 hours a week. This one will last longer since it's part of the school year and in the summer, and it's only part-time, 28 hours a week. But they only have a certain amount of months in a year that they could work.
Are we limiting this to how many people? So are we saying
Yeah,
during
you
the
guys,
school
you
year
guys
it
would
can
have
be,
to approve.
You have to approve every intern.
Two to three
single
people?
one.
You approve every one of them.
but what would be in our budget to do? Like, we couldn't just go, oh, yeah, let's get 12 of these kids
No,
in
we
here. What would be the maximum that we could
I
afford?
Could not recommend any more than I thought we could afford for that year. Like 2, I think we're fine. We didn't hire as many seasonal mowers since we went with the Van Diesler maintenance plan. So we have some room in the budget to hire the summer interns. And furthermore, with the like interns or seasonal help, Karen and I usually keep track of that once it starts getting later in the year. And if we think, oh, we're gonna have a problem in that fund, which Parks and Cemetery usually have a problem, but Karen's department thankfully always goes way under and saves them. So, but we do keep track of that, and like August, September, we'll revisit it and look and see how much longer we can afford to keep everyone on. And if it looks like we're gonna go way over budget, we'll recommend to you guys, hey, we gotta let some of these people go early.
But how are we gonna do that in a school program?
We could still do it with this.
'Cause if that's their dedicated school hours.
Well, it goes from the spring into the summer, so by the time it gets into summer, they should be graduated by that time actually,
So it's,
because they have to be 18.
so it's seniors.
Mhm.
And I
And
think,
that purpose of that is our insurance, coverage for employees or interns who run equipment.
and I think it'd be nice to get a lot of people doing this, but I think if you get too many of the interns, then it makes it labor negative for the employees training them to do stuff. So it's kind of with, maybe 2 to 3, you have, they can assign a certain person that can help them out. But if you get too many, it's going to be
And
labor intensive.
the most the electric director's ever taken is 2. And he says 95% of the time, it works out and benefits his department and also benefits the individual that's doing the internship.
So when we discuss doing this, if this intern doesn't work out we let them go for a month and it's just not working, they're not pushing forward, what's the process to terminate that relationship?
Same as it would be for any other employee.
Okay, and we have to go back to the school and.
No, we wouldn't have to.
No, you follow their 18. So we have a policy and we have a procedure that we follow with everybody, whether they're seasonal, non-seasonal. It's applied across the board.
But this isn't during school hours then, this is,
I don't know when they're gonna do it.
that's what I'm saying, so if we,
They would just have to go back to school.
they would have to go back to school, so do we notify the school and say,
Yeah.
they've been terminated from this opportunity? So otherwise they're gonna be truant? Do we tell the school that they're
Yeah,
not
we
no
would have
longer?
to tell them.
If they're over 18, they can't be truant.
Oh, yeah, true.
Little do I know, I
Yeah,
just
they
send
can
my
be truant,
kids to
yeah.
school.
Actually, if you're over 16, you don't have to go to school. And I shouldn't say that, but that's the law. That's Kansas law. That is, yeah, it's crazy.
We know nothing. This guy.
I need to get straight. I need to get straight. He's kindergarten. He's kindergarten.
Yeah. You have to go start when you're 7.
Count on my fingers.
And you stay till you're 16.
Sure,
That's the
good.
Kansas law right now.
Not if you're living under my roof.
Even though we made
Me
this
too.
agreement for them through the school.
This isn't through the school. If you
this
look,
would
it's in,
just be an
they sign it
agreement between the
themselves.
city and the intern.
Yeah, they sign it themselves.
Basically, the school's gonna recommend.
They recommend, here's a couple of kids.
And they can do this while, instead of going to school.
Which I think that program is successful. I don't know.
I was just questioning how it all, if it didn't work out, how it would revert back to that situation. If they didn't want it to work, they didn't.
I can't see very many people that are going to college
Yeah, I mean, the idea is that it's a stepping stone for, and I think that they refer as success, what they consider to be successful candidates. And they try to screen.
There's always those.
It's always, you always have that, yeah.
And reading through it, Joanne, my intent would be, we have expectations set up for the intern, so they would realize that this is more of a labor position, and this is for someone that maybe wants to do vocab, not vocab, but protection. And it's gonna be with your hands, there's a lot of stuff involved.
It's hands-on.
Yeah, hands-on. Some kids, I think, wanna take that path, or go to college.
Yeah.
So,
Not everybody wants to go to college.
change, I think, it's pretty, I mean, tells a lot of English, I think, I like that. Yeah.
Are there any questions? Anything else? Mr. Mayor, I motion that we approve the Public Works Internship Program with USD 248 partnership as presented on the iPads.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item F, discuss approving referred internship candidates for Public Works Internship Program.
I have two students that were referred and recommended by the school district. If you guys want to review
Really
that.
not, Sam.
And I've received those names from Councilman Leslie, and he recommended them both, and I did put, or write down what you could say in a motion and contingent upon completion of pre-employment paperwork. And it's Mason Stolte and Ethan Davidson.
Any question? Do you have any concern?
What are the names?
Mason Stolte and Ethan Davidson. And it's, okay. Mr. Mayor, I motion that we approve the referred internship candidates, Mason Stolte and Ethan Davidson, at $10 an hour, effective March 28th, 23, per the internship agreement and contingent upon successful completion of pre-employment paperwork.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item G, discuss waste tire grant award written by Josh Buckle.
We received notification that we were awarded this grant. We haven't received the official grant paperwork yet. This was one of the grants that I asked Josh Buckle to work on so that he could start getting experience in grant writing. No, it's not on it because I haven't received it yet. Sorry, Melissa.
Oh, I'm like, I
And,
told this one.
I do expect to be receiving this any day, and it will be, the mayor's signature will be required, and I'll have to send that back in. So what I'm looking for is approval of the waste tire grant award. He wrote for, we've written this before, and we got the mulch at the park that Councilman Houston wanted, and that's what we wrote it for. So this one will be for recycled tire waste benches at the park, pool, and frisbee golf. And it will pay half of the cost. Then we have the rest in the equipment reserve fund.
We don't have to do anything, we just have to approve this.
Just that we'll accept the grant award for the waste tire.
So it's, we know how much it is. right?
No. I know it's 50%.
Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Mayor, I motion that we approve the waste tire grant award written by Josh Buckle for tire benches to be put in the park, pool, and public areas.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item H, update on CDBG application project.
We recently had a meeting with the Southeast Kansas Regional Planning Commission and Midwest Engineering about our CDBG application. I don't know if you guys recall, but they had requested a bid extension past the schedule that we had written in the grant application. That is now finished. It has been posted in the paper and we will be receiving bids soon. The discussion was about increase in prices because the state has acknowledged that estimates from a year ago can be up to 150% off wrong, and that they are giving more leniency, I guess, in changing the scopes of projects. So we did go ahead and include the whole entire project in our bid. And so once we get those bids back, then we'll probably have to come to you guys if the bids are way different than our cost estimates, to either cut down the project or go from like overground to submersibles or things like that. I just wanted to update you guys on that. We don't know yet, but that's where we're at with that. And it's bid out and it's in the paper, and we should be starting to receive those in.
Yeah, I think, there's a pre-bid conference the 13th
Yeah.
of April, and then the bids will be open by the 20th.
Thank you, Vicki. You always remember all the dates. That's all I had on that. I don't need any.
Okay. Okay, moving on. Item I. Executive session for non-elected personnel to discuss part-time administrative fire chief.
Mr. Mayor, I motion that we go into executive session for non-elected personnel to discuss part-time administrative fire chief candidate. Recommend 12-minute session to include the mayor, council, city attorney, city administrator, and police chief.
12 minutes, who came up with that?
Second that?
We got to vote on it.
Oh, yeah.
Who's seconded?
Second.
Everybody.
Okay, you guys.
All those in
come on.
favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
and she just found out that she got pregnant
There's
last
a
week.
show that says I didn't.
Okay, we're back live, just
There,
FYI.
and there's a medical.
YouTube is back to speaking.
There's a medical.
She did.
I don't need to.
Yes.
And you because you're using a lot.
I'm trying to keep I'm trying to get my straight, non-committed face. See, and
That's
stuff,
what I need to do.
but it doesn't work. Which is transparent.
You are very
I am pretty transparent, aren't I?
I hope they will. I don't think they were.
Call the meeting back to order. What do you want for starting date, Johanna?
You can say tomorrow if you want, and just say contingent upon completion of pre-employment paperwork.
Make it easy for me. Mr. Mayor, I motion that we approve the part-time administrative chief position for Jeffrey Turner to commence tomorrow, contingent upon successful completion of pre-employment paperwork and at the rate of $19.25 an hour.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Send me minimum hours.
28 part-time administrative chief.
Fire chief. Not city administrator.
Okay, if there's no further business, we'll go to governing body comments. Vanessa?
Use it.
I know everybody left because they were interested in one thing, trash, but I appreciate everybody that did come out and did speak, and I believe we come to a resolution on that tonight. So it was great to know that the community wanted to be involved and that they wanted to be heard. Aside from that, I'm glad to see that the golf course is getting back into action. Things are starting to move, spring's coming forward. So encourage everybody to get out there, use the facilities, eat at the restaurant, do what you can do. As people stated earlier, keeping it local, I think that's great. Local business is always a winner for me. Aside for that, thank you everybody for doing a great job. Our police, our fire, everybody that's putting in the time, putting in the effort, are all of the employees that work for the city. And that's all I have today.
Lucas?
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to say that I did miss last meeting. I just took some time for myself and my family, much needed. I did watch some of the YouTube. I got in trouble with my wife for watching that. And
Business
I'm
first.
glad, I'm happy that the council has been consistent and has kept with keeping to basically, especially the water leak. We listen, just like we did tonight. We try to listen to everybody, take the input, and then make the best informed decision. I am a little disheartened on the sanitation, because I know they got a lot of, I guess, I don't want to say misinformation, but I know that I talked to a few people outside, citizens, other board members, and they told me that they like the process, what we're doing. And I know that the vote tonight was very vocal, and a lot of these individuals were here for one reason that was not for it. And the process, it was just a process to look into it. I personally hope in the future we can go through the processes, because I know when I first started on council, getting the city admin was not favorable, at least with a few people that were in the city, and that process was a good process to do. Still go through the steps. It's always good to go through the steps, because that's how we as people want to govern. I want all voices and everyone to be heard and also taken into consideration and stuff. I didn't want to speak during public hearing because I know I'm not giving them their time to talk. Or if I'm constantly rejecting what they're saying, I don't feel like that's a service to them. But I do, with that being said, hope that we can look, because I did find it funny that Kyle said we need a codes enforcement officer. We do have one, so I don't know why he thinks we don't.
I don't think.
Wanted more. Okay, what's more of them? So I do know that whenever we did the long-term planning with the city, blight was an issue, and I was picking up trash the other day around town when we were at the skate park, trying to do pickleball. We go out to the cemetery sometimes to look at that, and I was picking up trash, and so trash is still a problem, and I hope that the people here tonight are just as active with trying to find a solution to that problem as they were trying to stop the discussion on making it better for the city. I don't want to be on a soapbox. I just was trying to process it during that time because it was something that just didn't happen overnight. Like some people have said, it's been going on well longer than that. And like I said, the long-term planning committee was the first time I was with it. Sheldon was beside me, and we really were hoping for a path forward for that part of it. So one more item on that was public dumping. There's that sheet that got passed around right here. One of the business owners said that he gets trash dumped in his dumpster all the time. Crock can, we get it dumped in our dumpster quite a bit. And I know when we had the recycling set up for the cardboard, which we use as a family, I know several people within Girard, that was dumped, trash was dumped into there. So there's definitely a problem with trash. And I want to just ask the council going forward that we take time to look at every possibility, if we can, on improving that situation in the town. I know it's going to take a little time. I think it's well worth it on the long run. Other than trash, I do hope that the intern positions that we've looked at tonight, because I know the school has been very active and starting to be more vocal. I know Blaze is it this year?
Yeah, he's at the end of the school.
So at the end of the school year, there's another group that is Special Olympics. There's a group that got together and they're trying to grow that up at the school. And they're getting more involved, I believe, with the community. They always have been, but it seems like there's more, there's individuals that want to try to do more within the school and the town itself. And that's always important too. We can look at that. I know that there's been times where we've talked about having a person that could communicate. Sorry, it's leaving me now. But basically, I know that Johanna, we talked about at one time it was we could do the director. And that was something that was brought up again with not to me, but it had to do with the rec board, the city, and the school board. And there's one more entity involved, but at that point in time, I believe that they want to keep it more with the Special Olympics now because they want to have just a few activities going with that case. Mr. Mayor, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill?
I heard during this public forum tonight, a couple of times I heard it, and I'd like for the people that are listening, there's people out there said it's us against the council or vice versa. I don't think there's a person sitting on this council or in this room that seeks to do anything that will harm this community. Like I've said in the past, I'll say it again, I've lived in town for 50 years and I'm not going to pass or even consider an ordinance that's going to hurt the rest of the people because it affects me too. You know, and I just like the people out there in the community and people that listen on YouTube, that this council has no desire in any way to pass something that's contrary or will hurt the people in this town. I would hope that everybody's intent sitting on this council is to move this city forward and make it a better place to live. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And then, like I said, on the trash issue, we went to city council, myself and Bill went to city council, county city meeting last week over in Pittsburgh. And one of the main topics was trash. It isn't just our problem, it's the county. They went out there, 1 mile section, had to clean up a whole mile of stuff that had blown out on the highway from probably either a refuge vehicle or what. I would say that's probably what it was, the way it looked. I saw it myself. And they cleaned it up, and 2 days later, it's not quite as bad, but it was back there again. They're gonna try do a little bit more enforcement and probably get KDOT involved rather than, the county or whatever. And that was one of the main things, was the trash. And I don't know what the answer is. We need to, it's something we need to get on top of, but it's something that, like, I had talked to a landlord. Well, he was actually one of the county commissioners has a thing, and I heard somebody make the comment tonight about that. They said that they pay for the trash service. This house is rented. And they said the person rent it won't even take the effort to put it in the container and move it out. So, sometimes it may not be a trash service problem. It may be the individual themselves. I mean, it's just something we need to keep up with. And then again, I want to thank everybody for their participation, city employees, and everybody here on the council. And thank them for the efforts they're putting out there. And we just need to move forward. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I motion that we adjourn. I couldn't think of the word. Mr. Mayor, motion we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
It escaped me as soon as I started.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. Wasn't it though? Man, I wish sometimes I could see the pieces, but I think I'm glad. I could hear mumbling. I know, right?
Mary's probably been here for 12 hours and I've been here.
Must be supper time.
I have been here for 12 hours. Well, not quite, I'm pretty close.